You guys might have thought you knew about quiet quitting, but I bet you haven't heard about the new trend, which is quiet vacationing. Millennials are deciding to go on vacation without telling their bosses, and they're just keeping it a secret because, they feel like they deserve that time off. And you can stick it to your boss by working from home from not your home.
I feel like this, like if you've been at a job and you've been, you're a laptop employee, and it's been 6 months since you've had to go into the office, you can pretty safely assume that you can take a few days away and still do your job.
My roommate during COVID did exactly that, and he has not come back from Mexico since. It's been about 3 years.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy. So this is based on a new survey that found 37% of millennial workers have taken time off without communicating it to their employer, including 24% of Gen Z and 24% of Gen X, but only 18% of boomers.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Which is interesting.
It's because they take all their vacation days at the same time and
when they retire.
And they actually retire. I think it's funny because I haven't had a job that was so repressive. Like you hear these horror stories where it's like, look, I'm going to be traveling, but I'll still be doing my job. So I've got no experience as what's that like. Would your boss be like, no, you cannot. We need you at home, even though home can be wherever you bring your laptop. Like what's the difference between that and just moving? So
there was this viral video that I had you pull up of these two girls working, they're tech girlies working poolside. Okay, and they made everyone really angry.
It reminds me of that video came out. From those girls like a couple years ago. They're like, if you're not in Mexico, where are you at? and then a bunch of like dudes would make videos. They're like construction workers, like at work. like
okay,
let's like laying pavement.
These girls in
I need
STEM.
to make like a tech. My coworkers keep saying I need to make like a tech TikTok, because if you look at my TikTok, you'd never guess I have a job.
It's a tech talk.
So, anyways, this is our current workstation. Callie and I are what you call product managers. Callie, what is your team over?
My team is over reporting and internal tools.
And I am over what we call card experience. So we work on like...
Where the hell can I get these jobs? How are these real things?
You have to be a girl.
Is that true?
To get one of these jobs.
From activating your credit card to freezing.
So I just have to do manual labor and die because Ben Shapiro said so.
You have to podcast and then die.
I have to podcast. I either do this or I do manual labor and die until I'm 90, like Ben Shapiro said. It's a
issue, shipping, all the good stuff. What's a PM?
She doesn't know what her job is.
Like, why should I prioritize and help the engineers stay on track and help them know what
she
to
legitimately doesn't know what she's doing for a living.
Yeah, exactly. So you might have a team, like the engineers actually do the developing, the coding, which is the impressive part. Designers also do the impressive part, which is everything you see when you're in a software. Product managers essentially decide what the team's going to work on, do competitive research, prioritize bugs, keep everyone focused, motivated.
They're literally glorified cheerleaders.
You can do it!
Glorified cheerleaders in the tech industry.
And driving towards
morale
business
boosting.
Outcomes. So that's what we do. And we work from home, which means you work from the internet.
So this is our office today.
Thanks for tuning in.
This is all. It's also what's brought us like van life people. Like,
yeah,
everybody who sees van life people assumes that they just have rich families. But if you can work from anywhere that there's an internet connection,
sometimes they're product managers.
Yes, exactly.
And obviously doesn't take any hard skills. But yeah, if you have a laptop job, you can kind of just go rogue and do whatever you want.
Dude, I
every
wouldn't
time
care
I'm in the airport,
if I didn't know that they were making like six figures. That's the kicker.
Yeah.
Every time I'm at an airport and I see somebody doing a job on a laptop and there's a spreadsheet open, I'm like, what do they do?
What do they
do?
AI can't keep everyone motivated. They need these girls. Their jobs are really indispensable.
I need this job. Mm-hmm. This job is temporary, okay? I can only do this for so long. I need a soulless laptop job.
Well, then you can work in the pool.
Well, I need something with
you'll
some,
be all set.
I need some job security. I feel like those jobs have more job security.
So I was confused about the term quiet quitting because I originally thought it just meant Gen Z is quitting the job and then just ghosting and
No.
never saying why,
That's
never
not what it
giving
is.
any
Stop
2-week
showing
notice.
up.
They just stop showing up. But it's actually a term for not putting in extra effort that goes beyond the job description.
Correct.
And I actually sent you this video of a guy explaining the difference and defending quiet vacationing and quiet quitting.
Did I have hold on. It's
From
yes, I got it.
Amanda.
Yes, from Amanda Getz. Here we
Yeah.
go.
Let's hear the case for quiet vacationing.
You have absolutely got to be kidding me.
I love it.
It's already causing Brett physical pain.
First of all, millennials try to create just a smidge of work-life balance in their lives by saying, hey, by the way, I'm no longer going to be going above and beyond. I'm just
I
going
know I'm a boomer, but every time I hear a millennial mention work-life balance, I want to kick them into a volcano.
No, because you realize even if they're right, they're annoying.
Yes.
So you just have an irrational rejection of whatever they
Work
say.
till you're old and die. That's what we were programmed
Because
to
you're
do.
annoying.
No, as men, it's our job to work till we're old and die.
stick to what's in my just job description and what I'm actually getting paid for. And they wanted to call it quiet quitting. And now that we're saying, we're probably not going to be able to retire. So, hey, why not just go to the pretty places now? We can still work and we can still get the job done. And they want to call it quiet vacationing? No, absolutely not. This is exactly why millennials are fed up with corporate hustle culture and ditching it in droves. Because you want so badly for us to go back to your old ways of doing it. We tried that. We tried the hustle, and guess what? It did not pan out well for us. We are completely burnt out, and you will not be shaming and guilting us to going back to this old way of doing things. I don't know where you got this story from, Miss Jennifer, but it is garbage.
So one person in the chat said, quiet quitting is the dumbest thing. It's just doing your job, nothing more. Want me to do extra? Pay me for it. I think that you're saying exactly what the quiet quitters are saying. The quiet quitters are saying, well, if you want me to go above and beyond what I was hired to do, you should pay me more. And I think what a lot of millennials and possibly Gen Xers too have found is that, like, going into the working world, you were told the more effort you put in and the more competent you are and the easier you are to work with, the more likely you are to get promoted and get paid more. And
They
then they
left out
found
the
out
part about being assertive and actually going for those raises.
well, sometimes even then it's not possible because of inflation and companies are shutting down and downsizing. They found out that, you know, it's not actually based on merit. A lot of the people who are in positions above you in these corporations are just there because they've been there for a long time and they have the momentum or like
Connections.
they're the connections,
boomers
nepotism.
will live forever, and the boomers will live forever,
Yeah.
and they're never gonna both. It doesn't matter. I still hate the whining, and every time I see somebody complain about a pizza party, I'm like, ha 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 ha. Deal with
why,
it.
Why are
Corporate
they
pizza
complaining
party.
about corporate pizza parties? Why are they complaining about that?
It's the joke. They're like, can I get benefits? Can I get health care? Pizza party.
All of these companies
That
have
doesn't
health
happen.
care.
Like, can I get a raise? Can I get benefits? Can I get health care? Pizza party. It's kind of like when people say, like, can you, like, what, to their teacher in school, can you just please teach me how to do my taxes? Parabolas. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I think maybe when boomers were the majority of the workforce, they had more, I guess, camaraderie with their coworkers. And now the work-life balance thing has turned into having a totally separate self from your work self.
Yeah. And I don't
Having
disagree with the
no blend between the two at all.
I have no problem with the idea of work-life balance. That's a reasonable thing. I just hate that it has a name. I hate that it has a name so that people can use a title.
What would
when
you
complain.
prefer?
I would not give it a name. I would say it would be about finding a way to live your life at home within your own means or something like that. It doesn't need a name because then it just gets used as a weapon.
Gen Z loves to name everything.
They do. It's a problem. Stop naming things.
It's more so millennials that came up with that, though.
Yes.
Another shocking thing, Gen Z and millennials are trying to save the planet by quitting jobs that aren't eco-friendly. And the majority of respondents to this survey said that the climate crisis causes them personal anxiety and stress. And in an effort to ease their stress over the climate crisis, they are quitting jobs at companies they believe are bad for the environment.
I do find it funny how, like, I did mention, because I'm dumping a lot here on the Gen Z as whiners, but I put this tweet out yesterday because I thought this was a very interesting thing that I discovered on Google. So if you Google boomers, Gen X, and millennials, you get infographics about like the age range and, you know, when they were born. If you Google Gen Z, you just get a picture of somebody who looks like they've been told they were given a terminal illness and a time to die.
It's a condition.
That's what comes up.
Whoa.
So this is what comes up when you look up baby boomers.
Yep. Gen Z is
There's
actually...
Gen X.
It's a condition now.
There's millennials. There's you. They literally have to point to them. And then here.
You're special.
If you have been diagnosed with being Generation Z, seek help from a doctor.
I hope they can figure out their issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. The colloquially known as Zoomers. I like that added touch. 45% of Gen Z and millennials have already left a job or plan to over climate concerns, this says.
Again.
In this economy?
There was just
I'm sorry.
There was
you don't
just
need to give a reason to quit.
a thing that was going around today where there was like a sign put on a door at like a fast food restaurant or a dollar store that said like, this store is closed indefinitely. They spelled indefinitely wrong, and wrote a long note about why they're not working there anymore, basically saying like they quit.
This is also insane. More than 70% of the Gen Z and millennials surveyed said that they consider prospective employers' environmental policies while job hunting. For a quarter of Gen Z and millennials, this has impacted whether or not they've accepted a job. Again, I mean, in this economy, that is mind-blowing.
Yep.
Like, money is money.
Yeah.
$20 I'm not gay, but $20 is $20. I mean, that's just crazy to hear that from the most like financially anxious generation ever, millennials and Gen Z, that they would consider the climate crisis when deciding whether to accept a job offer.
Yeah.
That's just wild.
Like,
Like, how would you even factor that in?
Hierarchy of needs, that's at the very bottom.
Is it
Lower
kinda
than
like
that?
Is it virtue signaling though? Like I feel like they're just virtue signaling. They don't actually care.
They
care
respond
more
to the
about
survey like that, but it's not true.
like. Well, I think that it's just ingrained in them. Like I think Gen Z and this started with millennials too. It's like there's no differentiation anymore between I'm doing this because it's like I have to do this because it's socially acceptable and I actually care, because they're just indoctrinated with like wokeness and the internet and anything on the internet, really.
There's
not just wokeness.
A $20 super chat here from Gordon Shumway says, boomers were the first and only generation that experienced the largest economic growth in the history of mankind when they entered the workforce, and they don't understand why later generations don't have it as easy as them.
Even though it is pretty easy to understand if you want the answer.
Yeah.
I don't think they want to hear that they didn't earn what they have.
And
no one does.
It is true. Like every time a boomer says, don't buy your $7 latte, but expect that to be what gets you a home when wages haven't increased, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I just find both sides to be...
Yeah, like has life really changed that much? Have lifestyles changed that much? Or is it just the economy or whatever?
Sarah's like, don't spend it on Starbucks. Spend it on Cast Brew coffee. Even if you're not going to own a home, you can own Cast Brew coffee.
I don't know. Do millennials and Gen Z have higher expectations for their standard of living than boomers had at the same age? Because, I mean, I don't know. Maybe social media would be the reason for that. If so, they're comparing themselves to more wealthy people or people who live off of debt.
True.
It is crazy.
Do they have
that-
higher standards for themselves?
I don't like the Gen Z.
Gen Z and millennials.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great point. Is they
Like-
see all these other people that have things and assume
Social
that
media.
they deserve it too.
What they
social media.
consider to be the baseline living standard might
Yeah.
be higher than what boomers did.
If
but-
you were living in a rich neighborhood and expecting to have the same job as somebody else, that made sense because you both had to pay money to live in the same rich neighborhood. Whereas you could just follow somebody on social media that has no apparent skills or talent outside of posting things on social media and wonder why they got there. Well, a lot of times it's not necessarily true. actually being effective at social media does take a certain type of talent, whether it's editing, knowing how to engage with an audience. It's a separate skill set, and people don't understand that it's not something that anybody can just pick up a camera and do.
Yeah.
I would never want to be somebody who had to rely on social media to make money, because it's a grind, just like this is a grind, but it's a different type of skill set entirely. And a lot of people think because they can see it easily that doing it must be easy. Just like the same way when people dunk on actors and they say they get paid to play pretend. And I'm like, well, first of all, they get paid money comparatively to things that cost millions of dollars and bring in millions of dollars. But it is a skill set that you have to learn.
You're also always going to have a class of people on the internet, like influencers, telling you that, you're not doing enough, you're not grinding enough, you need to hustle.
Kim Kardashian will tell you to just work, bitch.
Yeah, work harder, lazy ass. And I think for a lot of these people, they don't want to be entrepreneurs. They do just want to work a normal job at a corporation and be able to live off of that and support a family off of that.
I would love that.
It's most like millennials and Gen Z may not admit that they want family life, but for most of them, they're denouncing it because it's out of reach for them.
Laptop job.
They want the laptop.
I'm looking for that laptop job. So
those girls graduated at just the right time, because I'm hearing that it's really hard to get jobs in the tech industry right now.
I want somebody else to be going through an airport and look at me looking at a spreadsheet on a laptop and say,
wonder what the hell is on it.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
Valid goal.
Yeah, it's like doing this is great and all, but can I do this forever? Can I sit on a laptop forever and just move things from column A to column B? Sure, if somebody teaches me how to do that.
I mean, you can just start a spreadsheet whenever you want.
That is true.
You can just do that in the airport and LARP as someone with a laptop job.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.